my whole For You page was just filled with like bashing me, and I just didn't like. I ended up filtering my For You page, but it was literally a trend to just hate on me.
What is up, everyone? I'm your host, Alannized, and this is Noche de Pendejadas, your favorite podcast turned talk show en donde yo traigo a tus influencers favoritos para platicar y posiblemente sacarle sus trapitos al sol. Hoy les tengo un episodio, amigas, que yo sé que allá en casita están súper emocionadas for. So without further ado, please help me welcome my guest tonight, Tessa Ortega! Hello, friend. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hasta que se nos hace. Let me just go ahead and say really quick, amigas, the amount of times I've had to reschedule Tessa, like I should be canceled at this point, amigas. Cancélenme por todo el internet, porque en verdad que sí, ya le he cancelado no una, pero dos veces. The first time we were supposed to film, amigas, era la semana pasada, and I told her maybe like 2 days ahead que no se iba a poder, and I rescheduled her for yesterday, o sea, lunes, pero no van a creer, amigas, yo acabo de llegar el domingo de Las Vegas, and llegué todo cansado, todo aporreado, amigas, que no sé por qué chingados I scheduled anything for the Monday after we came back.
I saw you post in Vegas. I'm like, you
He's
know
gonna
how
lag.
yes, I was like, he's gonna lag. You know how there's people that are like set their nail appointments and they see their nails
Yeah.
like out the night before. They're like, oh.
Like, I just should prep, just stay in. Literally, you guys. Pero lo bueno que aquí estamos, lo bueno que la tenemos aquí el día de hoy. And I'm super excited de tenerla, amigas, porque me gusta tener aquí invitados que puedo conocer posiblemente un poquito más de lo que vemos online. Y estoy súper emocionada de tenerte aquí con nosotros. Este fin de semana yo estuve en Las Vegas, pero yo sé que tú hiciste algo este fin de semana, porque cada vez que miro las historias de Tessa, amigas, she is somewhere out and about. So, ¿qué estuve haciendo este fin de semana, amiga? Cuéntanos.
Every time I'm out and about, it's always with like my family or like close friends of mine. But I think this weekend I kind of just went to San Diego for like my mom's cousin's basketball game out there.
Okay.
It was a college game. It was really fun. I loved it. Just took pictures out there.
With that being said, amigas, ya me voy a callar y vamos a empezar con esta entrevista. Antes de que empecemos con el chisme, yo te voy a dar a ti el micrófono para que nos digas un poquito más de quién eres y qué haces.
I'm Tessa Ortega. I'm 16 years old. Basically who I am as a person, I'm kind of always just to myself. Like when it comes to like my friends, like or meeting new people, like I'm very extroverted as well. So when it comes to meeting me, I'm not gonna like give you guys like a hard time to like make or not have a conversation with. But I'm very outgoing, but I also am to myself as like a person.
Ya vamos a empezar con el chisme del día de hoy, and I'm going to go ahead and start off with the question I always love starting with, ¿qué es tu infancia? Siento que es muy importante, amigas, de platicar about your upbringing and how you were raised para que la gente allá en casita en verdad te puedan conocer un poquito más. So how was Tessa growing up? ¿Cómo fue tu infancia, amiga?
I think I was always an extroverted person. I think as I grew up, though, I kind of like calmed down. But definitely, like during elementary time, I was very outgoing and like thinking I was the boss and just I don't know. That's just how I was. I think it's also because I got it from my mom because that's how she is as like a person. I think I was a little left out because my sister would like be with her friends and my brother was always occupied with like doing baseball. So I would like always try to like, since my brother was busy with baseball and like already gone, like out of the house, my sister was home with all her friends. So I would just try to like hang out with all of them and I would just try to fit in. But she would always, like my mom would not like me trying to hang out with my sister's friends at the time. She would just be like, stay in your room or just like this and that because obviously I was younger than all of them. So she didn't like it. But I don't know.
Do you feel like that was a big reason why you became an introverted child? Because you almost felt like your sister was too busy with her friends y tú pues nomás ahí quedabas ahí on your own. Do you feel like that was a big reason why you kind of closed off a little bit as a child?
I don't think that was the case because I feel like I became more introverted now than how I was back then. Because back then I didn't care. I wouldn't care what my mom said at all. I would still go to her room. Even if all her friends are over, I would still try to go and my sister would try to kick me out or this and that. But I feel like what closed me off now was probably just like having trust issues with people and like all that stuff, which is we'll talk about later. But as of right now, that's the only reason why I'm kind of like more closed off into myself.
Do you feel like you and your siblings got along growing up?
No, we definitely did get along. If anything, we're like beefing with each other now. I'm just kidding. No. Every time we would get along, our parents would always think we're fighting. Like, I don't know why. Every time we're getting along, my mom would always go in the room and like yell at us, like thinking we're arguing or something. And we're like, we're
bonding.
We're actually bonding for the first
yeah.
time, and you're getting mad at us. Like, for what? No one ever knows this. I was actually closer to my brother growing up instead of my sister. Like, I would literally have sleepovers, and my brother had a bunk bed, and I would always sleep over in his room, and we would always just like play Minecraft, split screen. Like, I was way closer to him because my sister was like busy during that. She was also doing social media at the time, so she was busy. Like, so I wouldn't really have time to spend with her. So I would just like stay in my brother's room with him, playing on the like PS4, PS3, just playing games with him. We don't really show him anymore because he kind of stopped posting, and not that it's bad or anything. It's just he still does post to this day, but I definitely did get closer to my sister because of social media, because we do get invited to like the same events. So usually when my sister gets invited somewhere, then she will have like me and my mom as a +2. It does make up for like the past of like us not really being like as close as we are now. But definitely I would say that it was a big help for like us to be able to bond. It's because my sister's always tried to like put us into social media, like me and my brother. She would, oh my God, if you guys look at her old YouTube videos or her old content, it's literally just
She's been doing this shit since she was born.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she came out with the camera.
And literally in our faces and will record us. We would get so mad at her. And she would just try to like push it, like for us to do social media as well. And my brother started doing it, but then he kind of like stopped. But now he's trying to do it again. But then me, oh my God, I'd be so mad if she tried to get me on the camera. It would literally start family arguments because of that. Because I would go to my mom and dad and be like, look, you're letting her record me. You're letting her do it.
Why didn't you like it?
Honestly, I don't know. To this day, I don't know why. I think it's because I was like insecure because of how the way I looked.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I could think of.
Would people at school bring up your sister's videos and you'd be like, ay no, ¿por qué está posteando eso mi hermana?
During the time of quarantine, I think when I hated it the most. So no one was really able to say anything. But I think that's why I didn't like it, because quarantine, I was kind of like not posting anything at all. So her posting what I look like, what I'm doing, I was like, okay, stop now.
Yeah.
Like, so it's crazy to think back, like that's how I was, and then this is how I am now. My freshman year, that's when I started getting into it more and posting myself and being more confident with myself. And I think that's like the time I was just like, I don't know. That's when I was like, okay, I can actually do this. When there's people like that used to comment under my videos or like say, oh my God, you're so pretty. Because remember, I was an insecure person. So once I started getting those compliments, like just flush my comments, I was like, oh my God. I was like, really? You think I'm pretty? I'm like, okay.
What do you think led to you having these insecurities as a kid? Do you feel like there was like a moment or just like anything about yourself that you hated growing up?
Matter of fact, there's only one time that I don't really think that's the reason why it affected me, but I think in elementary, there was like a group of like, obviously elementary boys.
Yeah.
There was like a time of them just like body shaming me, being like, oh, you're gonna need plastic surgery, you're flat. I'm like, thinking back on that now, I'm just like, why was little boys worried about what like
how you looked?
A 10-year-old looked? I'm like, honestly, I don't even know if a 10-year-old is the right age to say, but I'm just like, that's the only thing I could think of, but I don't think that affected me as much, like, to make me insecure. But I think I was just always hard on myself.
Yeah.
I think I will forever be like that at the end of the day, because, like, even though I have hate comments now, I feel like at the end of the day, I'm always gonna be like my own
biggest critic.
Yeah, I'm my own biggest critic at the end of the day, because I don't know.
And I feel like that's so normal, porque hasta the baddest of the baddest, amigas, have insecurities. And I feel like that just comes with being a human. Uno como humano, amigas, we're always going to be like our hardest critics. So I'm glad que tú estás trabajando en eso. Pero quiero platicar un poquito de la relación con tus papás growing up. What was that like? ¿Cómo era la relación con tus papás? Do you feel like you were more of a daddy's girl or a mommy's girl?
Not in a bad way or anything. I wasn't really either, because I feel like my mom was busy with like my sister, taking her to events, because this was like obviously before I started doing social media. So my mom was busy with my sister taking her events, and then my brother was with my dad all the time. Yeah. Like, my dad was there, like, taking him to his baseball games. I feel like that helped me be a very independent person. But definitely now, a mommy's girl. But during that time, I think I was just, like, by myself. I think definitely not jealous of my brother because I saw him. He was a boy. I was like, I don't really care. Like, whatever. But probably my sister, in a way, I would just be like, damn, they're over here doing this and this and this without me, you know? But it was just, like, saying that and then just like, okay, whatever. Like, let me just do whatever I gotta do. Let me go. Because I would play video games at the time. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna go play video games. I don't care.
You're like, I have more free time. You're like, bye. No,
yeah. So it wasn't like that deep for me to be like all butthurt about it, or like if they were to come home after like coming from an event and like sneak dissing them or anything. Yeah. It was kind of just like that though.
Did you understand that at the time que tu mamá se la pasaba mucho con tu hermana porque aparte de ser también su mamá era su manager?
I think I didn't understand at the time, so I was a little butthurt, but definitely now I understand. And I feel like that's okay. You know how there's some parents that say like, oh, you'll understand when you're older, or like this and this and that. It's just like, you don't understand literally until you're in that older position. Yeah. I feel like that's the main part of it though. I'm just like that. I'm just like, oh, okay, like whatever. Like I'll do my own thing. Yeah. I used to think about things like that actually. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wait for one day. Like I'm gonna be doing things on my own. I'm gonna like do a little dinner, like going to dinner by myself. Solo like dates. Driving like just by myself in my car, or like just think about stuff like that. Like I feel like other people wouldn't. They always have like a person next to them. But I always think of doing things like on my own. And that's what my mom and sister say all the time. Like, why do you always think like that? If you're gonna move out, then move out. But if it ever came out, if it ever came down to it, they probably would be like, girl, where are you going?
Yeah, like, ¿pa dónde vas? Wait, do you want to move out when you're like 18? Like, or what are your like plans when it comes to moving out? She's looking at mom like,
No, because I actually talked about this with my mom before, because I was considering it like a little bit, but she was just like, girl, you're not moving out till you're 18. And I'm like, okay, valid. Because I always ask her hypothetical questions like, would you still love me if I did this? Or like, I was asking her like a hypothetical question, and I was just like, oh, what would you do if I wanted to move out right now? And she's like, call the cops. Because like, if you tried moving out right now, I'd call the cops because you're not 18.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't think I would, unless I'm just like, no, I don't think I would.
I feel like it's just like a typical of a child's mindset growing up. Porque yo también, amigas, I remember growing up hating all the house rules, que yo siempre decía, yo me voy a mover a los 18 años, which I did, but I'm not going to lie, you guys. I moved out to my suegra's house in Danny's little bedroom. So obviamente I didn't really move out having all my shit together. But I do remember growing up, yo siempre, amigas, siempre that my mom would tell me shit. I would be like, ¿sabes qué? Yo a los 18 me voy, but it's so much harder than you actually think moving out.
I think that's the only reason why I would want to move out, is for like, I think more freedom, honestly, because my mom, people don't know this, but literally my mom is the strictest person ever. Like if I try to go out on my own, there's not one moment that I'm not out with my mom or like a security. Yes. And the only reason why I have a security, it's not because, oh, she thinks she's this or she thinks she's that. It's because I don't have a male figure in my life anymore. Like my dad is obviously still in my life, but like to go to these type of events, it's not like I could just call up my dad and be like, hey, can you come with me to this event, this and that. Like he's working. Yeah. He lives on his own now. Like I can't just do that, you know? Yeah. That's the only times like I'm able to go out by myself, is like if I'm with my mom or my security. When people get like all like in the comments, they're like, oh, why is the mom, she's too old. No, my mom's 39. I do not think that's old at all. If that's old,
and she don't even look 39. Nos platicas un poquito about wanting to move out and the strict house rules que tu mamá les tiene. What are 2 rules that you always are like, oh my God, mom, ya cámbiale, no me gustan esas reglas?
Oh my God, it's probably just like, I think I have FOMO. You know what FOMO is, right? Like, and I have a friend group, so every time like they hang out with each other or like invite me to go somewhere, even if it's like a birthday party, my mom will be like, you're not going? I'm like, I hate the feeling of having like, I'm like, what?
You're like, what do you mean?
I'm like, what do you mean? I want to go though. Like, what are you talking about? I think it would just be like the going out, and which is just like an average strict rule. I don't think it's like anything big. Oh my God, I hate this so much. Like, I hate having a curfew. Like every time, even it's just to go like get ice cream or something with my friends, be home by 10. Not leave by 10, get home by 10.
What happens if you're not home by 10?
oh my God, my phone, my iPad, my Instagram account, everything. That's why and I know she doesn't play. Like, it's not like, oh, let me test it. Let me see if she's really going to do it. Because she's done it before. I've been grounded for a year before. Oh,
a year?
Because of oh my God.
Okay.
Another strict thing is my grades. If my grades aren't good, that's it. Everything's gone. And she's just gonna, oh my God, that would be so bad if my grades weren't good.
Which I feel like those are like very standard.
It's very standard. And I just feel like, it's not crazy, but it's just like, those are rules like I hate. I do not play about my curfew at all, because once it hits like a certain time and I'm still out, she'll text me and be like, oh, you're on your way already, right?
Yeah.
Like, you better be, or something like that. Like, or I would just get like a bunch of threat messages from my mom or something, and I'd be like, okay, guys,
you're like, when you walk in, please leave your phone on the fucking table. You're
no,
like,
she's the type to be standing at the door, be ready, like have her hand out and everything, and be like,
put it here. That's good. That's good though. Have you ever sneaked out?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was sneaking out, but I was very young and I was at my cousin's house. And literally, we went, I'm not even lying, we went on a walk. It was like right here to all the way to the end of the road. Like, technically to the end of the room, but like, it was the sidewalk. We were with my cousin and we were with like her friends. And her friends recorded a video and posted it on Instagram. And it was like, I forgot what time it was. It was like 1 a.m., I think. My mom didn't see it. She would have never even figured out, but it was actually my cousin. My cousin told her mom, and which is my Nina, and my Nina told my mom. If she sees this, I'm sorry. I still don't even get along with her to this day, because I could never forgive her for that, because of the way I'm so traumatized of being in trouble for that day. Literally, the whole day passed by, and oh my God, the whole day passed by. As soon as we get home, I'm going to sleep. I was over here thinking I got away with it, whatever. Yeah. As soon as like I'm asleep, literally my eyes are closed. I'm like halfway asleep. My dad opens my door and he grabs me. We go to my mom's room and my mom's over here with the phone like this. And she's showing me the video and my whole outfit is showing and everything. And then she said, who's this? I said, oh, I was like, at first I was denying.
Like, it's AI. Literally.
I was denying at first. That's not me. That's not me. She said, Tessa, we were literally just there yesterday and you're wearing that same outfit. Like, I remember I saw that shirt before, like, we moved out from our old house, or like from our old house. And I remember her seeing that shirt and she was like, I can never see that shirt the same ever again. Trauma. She shows me the video. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to deny it. My mind, it's like those movie scenes where you're just like, blanked out, but you're just hearing screaming at you. And I'm just looking at the video and I'm like, wow, there's no way this is for real right now. My punishment was getting beat, that's for sure, because it happened in San Bernardino. So she just wanted to traumatize me, because during the time, I guess that she heard that there was kidnappings, this and this and that. Oh my God, I remember the next day after I got beat, she was just like, you know that was suicide, right? I looked at her, I was like, suicide? I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about, suicide? And she was like, you basically just try to kill yourself by walking in the streets of San Bernardino at that time by yourself being a little girl. And like looking at it now, I'm just like, okay, that's kind of understandable because it makes sense. I was a little girl. Like, it doesn't really make sense because I literally went down the street. Yeah. Definitely I've never done since. 100%. Never tried it. I'll just ask if I can't go, I can't go. I'm not gonna, definitely not gonna try it.
Sneaking out for every teen is like something que todos quieren hacer. I don't think I've ever told this story, pero yo cuando estaba en high school, amigas, when my mom started letting me sleep over at my friend's house, tenía como dos amigas that my mom would only let me sleep over at their house porque ya las conocía y todo. Y me acuerdo whenever I would go sleep at my friend Dalia's house, shout out to Dalia, I would go sleep over. Y me acuerdo que una vez, amigas, I sneaked out to go meet up with this guy that at the time I was talking to. Y me acuerdo que el muchacho was like, oh, my family's out of town, like, don't worry, te puedes quedar aquí, ven, aquí la vamos a pasar bien. Pues ustedes ya saben, amigas, en dónde iba a terminar eso. But tell me why I get there, and maybe like 20 minutes after I get there, we start like kissing y todo eso, y llega su familia, y su mamá me corre, because obviamente su mamá was like, ¿qué está haciendo este chamaco aquí a estas horas? Vete para tu casa. And it's funny because like my friend's house was super far from where I was at, and it wasn't like the ghetto. So yo con miedo, amigas, dije, ay, no, aquí un cholo me va a agarrar y me va a pistolear. And I remember I slept over at someone's house que yo ni conocía, amigas. Eran amigas del muchacho that I was with. And I remember I got there to their house, dormí y me levanté. Nada que ver. I really didn't know the girls, you guys. Funny story. I actually just ran into them. I think it was like at the Bésame Mucho festival. Y me dijeron, ¿te acuerdas cuando te dormiste en mi casa? Y yo las miré como de que, güey, ¿cuándo me dormí en tu casa? Me recordaron de la ocasión. And I was like, por poquito se me olvidaba. I literally bought them a shot because I was like, y'all were a real one for letting a fucking stranger dormir en su casa. Pero sí, amigas, yo siento que es muy normal that every almost teenager wants to sneak out. But it is very scary porque uno nunca sabe qué puede pasar.
Her being my mom, I see it. Like, if I were to have a daughter, like anything that young, like, if you know how San Bernardino is, they kind of just wanted, like, to traumatize me to never do that again. And I definitely never did it again.
And she learned her lesson, you
And I
guys.
learned my lesson.
Ahora cuando la miren en la calle, amigas, sepan que es con permiso. You know, aside from all the personal hate you get, yo pienso que también le tiran mucho a tu mamá porque siempre anda con ustedes o dice que se trata de vestir muy joven. Talk to us a little bit about that. ¿Cómo les hace sentir cuando agarran comentarios así?
That's the only, like, hate comments don't really, like, as gets me as much. But, like, when they talk about my mom, it's just, like, I wish, like, we had, like, a reality TV show so you guys could see what really goes on, because my mom is not like that at all. The only reason why she's going to these events is because at the end of the day, she has two roles. She's our mom and our manager. So while we're there at the event, she's also networking. So it's not just like she's there for no reason. I think it's very helpful because it's good to know in the back of my mind that at least it's my mom doing it. If it was someone else, like, I've heard so many other influencers and other people talk about how they get fucked over, like, all these contracts, this and that. And I'm just like, I have my mom. My mom, at the end of the day, I live with her. She's not going to do me like that. Like, obviously, like, she does deserve her part at the end of the day because she is
her
the one.
commission.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know. I just know for sure, like, I'm grateful to have her as my manager more than anyone else, like, to manage me, especially because I am underage and they think that I'm naive. So they could, like, take advantage. Like, just take advantage of that. So I'm just grateful that she's my manager, if anything.
Quiero platicar de algo un poquito más serio. El año pasado, from the months of July to August, pasaste por algo súper difícil, and I want to talk about it. Your parents' divorce. Subiste un en vivo, and it quickly got clipped, and it was all over TikTok. Y pues todos empezaron a platicar del divorcio de tus papás. Platícanos un poquito de eso. ¿Cómo te das cuenta tú de que tus papás estaban divorciando? How did you react to the news? ¿Y cómo te cambió la vida esto?
During the time, they were basically just living in the same house, but not talking to each other. So it was kind of just like, we thought, like, me, my brother and sister, we all thought it was just like, oh, a little argument that they're having, but it was kind of off for a while. And I think I was very nonchalant to it at the time because I was distracted. I started meeting these friends, this and that. But I remember the night that I figured out was when my mom ended up telling me that before my dad left to Arizona with my brother, that he said he's gonna, when they come back from Arizona, that he was gonna grab all his things and just leave. And I was like, when she told me that, I was like, damn, this is like for real now? I was still kind of like, no, he's not. He's just gonna come back and everything's gonna, like, y'all are gonna make up, everything's gonna be fine, this and this and that, whatever. But I would say, at first, I think it barely affected me. Obviously, during the time of the live stream, that's when it did affect me, because when everything was going on, because I was distracted by a lot. I started making, as I was saying, I did make a group of friends. So I would go out, I would do this and that. Like, I would just try to, like, get my mind, like, off of it, you know? Yeah. And once I actually was able to, like, sit down in my room, and when things were, like, for real happening, like my dad selling the house and everything, I was just like, what is going on? Like, he's really gonna do this to us, you know? Like, obviously, my relationship with him now is kind of different, but I think it's just like, why would you do that, knowing that, like, because during this time, my brother still lived with us too, and I was like, all your kids are, like, in the house, and you're just gonna, like, throw us out like that? Like, that's all we meant to you, you know? Oh my God, stop. I was just like, damn, that kind of hurt, you know?
Tu hermano y tu papá se van a Arizona y regresan y empiezan a empaquetar sus cosas. What was that moment like for you?
I never saw him get his stuff together. I would just see the like arguments that would break out in our household, and I would just like be in my room. But I remember when there was like one time when I was just like in my room and my mom and dad were just arguing, and I was just like, why did things have to be this way, you know?
Yeah.
I was just like, we were literally just like the perfect
family.
And I was just like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. But yeah, it kind of hurt because I was like, damn, we were really just like the perfect five of family. Like when my sister would record videos and stuff, looking back at it, I was just like, why did he have to really mess this up for us? Like, this is the life he chose. Like, he wanted to do this and that with other people. Like, he chose that life. Like, him choosing, like, leaving us. That's what he really wanted. And I don't know how to really, like, say it, but it kind of just hurt in that way because I was just like,
Nos cuentas de que tu mamá was the one that broke down the news to you. Did your dad ever have a convo with you guys, like explaining what was going on his end?
We still haven't had that conversation, but it's obviously like, we did talk about it. And I know that my mom was already mentally checked out of the marriage because of everything he was doing. I would see it. My dad, he was like the angry man in the household. He would just be like, the only days we had with him were Sundays because that's when he didn't have work. And it was very, like, how do I say it? And even the Sundays that we would have with him weren't even, like...
They weren't good Sundays.
They weren't good Sundays. Yeah. Like, it would be rare for us to have, like, an actual good day with him. But I think he was just physically there, but not there. And that's what kind of, like, I think that's the reason why I was kind of okay, because it's just like, oh, but I didn't really lose anything because it was never there. But realizing that it was like a big change because we were just a family, that's when I was just like, oh wait, this is kind of a big thing.
You guys had to move out of your house, right? Did he stay in that home?
No, he ended up, at first my mom got him an apartment. He didn't want it anymore because he didn't want her to pay for it, I guess. And we were like, oh, okay, like we're able to pay out the house that we were living in. Yeah. Like that was my mom's dream home. So it was built. We would always just like drive past the house and just see our house getting built. So that was her dream home. We didn't want to leave it. Like it was me, my sister, and brother. Like we didn't want to leave the house. So we were just like, oh, we're just gonna stay. Like, can we just pay for it? Like, and he was like, no, we don't want you to stay, or I don't want you to stay in it. Like,
your dad?
Yeah. He was like, you guys are gonna move. I don't want you to. And we were like, but why? Well, we'll just pay for it. Like, we got this and this and that. And then he ended up just like literally making us move out of the house. And we were kind of scared at first because we were like, where do we go? Like, and it was like a short amount of time for us to like look for houses too. We were kind of scared. We were like, damn, are we for real about to be like left on the street right now? Like, I don't know. Did
he like break the lease, or why was he like kicking you guys out?
We don't know. Like, he just didn't want us to have the house anymore at all. There was like, everything was fine. The mortgage was paid. Like, there was nothing. He just didn't want us to live there anymore because we don't know why either. Yeah. Maybe because he felt
like that was our home. Yeah, as like a family?
Maybe he was like, oh, this is our home. I don't want you guys to stay there either. But it's just like, you don't care where we were gonna be left. Like, we were almost just left like on the streets. What else were we gonna do?
Did you have a moment where the divorce actually finally hit you? Porque nos cuentas que en el momento que estaba pasando todo, tú estabas súper distraída con todo lo que te estaba pasando a ti en tu vida personal. Was there a moment where it finally sinked in like, oh my God, my parents are divorcing? It's for reals.
The thing that actually hit me was literally, and it's probably embarrassing for the first thing to do was pick up my phone and just go live. I think when it actually hit me is when I was on live doing that live stream and like I saw comments of it, like, because everything was still kind of fresh. And I was just seeing comments over and over and I was reading it and I was trying to explain the situation on why we were moving. And I was like, damn, this is real. This is my life now. Like, everything really did alter into a way I didn't want it to be. I didn't talk to my dad for, I would say like about a year. Like, everything's still fresh. Like, I just started getting along with my dad recently, and everything's good. Before I didn't really have, like, again, I told you I didn't really have a relationship with like my mom and dad, but I have a relationship with him. Like, I feel like after he kind of trying to prove that he's there for us, because that's one thing when they were going through the divorce, we would tell him, you were never there for us. You weren't here for, like, I would tell him, I'm like, you weren't there for any of my school assemblies. Like, my mom was always there. You were never there. This and this and that. And that's when I feel like he's just trying to make it up now by taking us like on these dinner dates and all this stuff. So I was like, so it's a little better now, I would say. I think the beginning, then again, even when all this was going down, like my parents' divorce, like he was still there. Like my quinceañera, he was there. But my mind wasn't on my parents then again, because I was more focused on like my social media, like, and all this stuff. So I didn't really pay attention that I didn't have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
But he would try during that time. And once I stopped talking to him was after he kicked us out. And that's when I just completely stopped talking to him. And the only time I recently started talking to him is after my parents went to court. He came to like drop off a child support check, and my mom and sister were talking to him downstairs, and I didn't want to go downstairs. I was like, I'm not talking to him. Like, I would be so like stuck up on the fact that I didn't want to talk to him. So he ended up going upstairs on his own and coming to my room, and I was just like I was like, he was like hugging me, he was giving me like a side cheek kiss, and then I was just like, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But eventually we did end up like hanging out, like me, my sister, and brother. So I feel like definitely things are like okay right now, but not like the best, you know, like the best in the world. Like, we have everything back to normal. I feel bad for being so selfish because during the time, like, you know how I told you I was distracted? So I didn't really like care about like what anyone was doing. Not that since I didn't have that relationship with my dad, I wasn't there for my mom. And my mom is the one that like completely fell into like depression, like bad. So me not being there for her and being distracted with all this other stuff, I kind of like I'm hard on myself for that, because it's just like, damn.
Like, you wish you could have been there.
Yeah,
for
I
your
wish
mom.
I could have been there for her, because I wasn't, you know. I think it was also because me being distracted with all that friend stuff during the time of my parents' divorce was also during the time of the drama. So I felt like I had my own things to worry about and wasn't being considerate of like real problems, because drama, that was social media. Like, that doesn't matter. I have real life problems at home with my mom and my dad. I don't know why I was more concerned about that at the time when it didn't mean anything. Like, that was literally just like little girl drama that was just put onto social media, you know? It was like high school drama.
We'll talk a little bit about the drama later on, but do you feel like having gone through that and then also having, you know, this real life problem going on, do you feel like it almost made it harder for you?
I think, yeah, it definitely did. Because I felt like I had two things going on inside of my head, and I felt like that was too much for me to process. So I was just like, I don't know. I was just like, I didn't know what to do with myself in a way.
How was your relationship with your siblings throughout the whole process? Do you feel like you guys almost had to divide and pick sides between your mom and your dad?
I think me and my sister are closer, but my brother, no. Not like in a bad thing or anything. I feel like my brother, it's kind of just like on his own, not choosing sides as well. He's kind of just like doing his own thing. Like, he's with his girlfriend. Like, they're practically married at this point, like, you know? So I feel like he had his own life going on, and at the end of the day, it was just like me and my sister and my mom. So I feel like it's not like it didn't separate us to be like, oh, you're choosing dad, like, oh, that's messed up, this and this and that. I think it's just like,
kind of divided the family a little bit. Cuéntanos un poquito about the change of, you know, family dynamics. Nos cuentas de que tú, tu hermana y tu mamá tuvieron que agarrar una nueva casa to live in, and then your brother went with your dad. What was that like, going from having your whole family together in one home to now living separately?
Honestly, it kind of did, but then again, like I already told you, I said it, like, for my dad, he was a physical but absent father, so I didn't really notice at the time that he was ever gone. But that's the same thing for my brother. My brother was always in his room or like always at his girlfriend's house, which nothing wrong, that's perfectly fine. So the only ones that were home was always me, my mom, and sister. So I feel like the only difference that it made was just a new home. That's it.
Literally.
But it's not like a something that was just like drastic or anything. It was literally just us in a new home. Like, it sucks that it had to be like that because now we are all on our own. But I don't think it was anything like, oh, you're betraying us, or you choose dad over mom after everything he's done, you know? Because at the end of the day, my brother, he lives with my dad, but he's never, like, really there. He's always at his girlfriend's
Do you think he
house.
does it more for the freedom?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, Nate, if you see this, you know damn well. But it is for the freedom, definitely. Because I know if I lived with my dad, I would be getting that same treatment as well. And I remember there's actually one time when there was a fight between me and my mom. I was trying to go to seafood boil with my friends, and I was getting ready. And she's like, you didn't even ask, and you're getting ready? And I was like, but I was going to ask after. Yeah. I just wanted to get ready. And she was like, no, Tessa, when I get home, we're going to have a talk. I'm tired of you doing this. You just don't ask and you go, this and that. And then I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like arguing right now. I'm going to go to my dad's. And once I said that, because I didn't even talk to my dad at the time, like, at all. I just said that because I was mad at her at the moment that she didn't let me go. When she said that, she said, oh, you want to go to your dad's? Okay, pack your things, go. I packed my things. I went to my dad's. And then I was just, like, crying there the whole time. I was like, fuck, I'm like, but my dad was, like, comforting me. He was a good sport. Yeah. He was like, do you still want me to take you to seafood boil? And I was like, no, it's okay. I was at my dad's only just for the night. Like, I just spent the night and I went back home.
Like, Mom, I miss you. Literally.
Well, I didn't have my phone. She took my phone. She's like, you're not taking your phone with you if I pay the bill and you're trying to go to your dad's. I was like, you know what? Whatever, take my phone. I didn't have anything, like... Yeah. To do. So I was just watching, like, YouTube in my dad's living room, like, eating. But I ended up texting him off of, like, an iPad that my dad had. So I texted her off of that, and I was like, can you pick me up? And she was like, I forgot what she said, but she was just saying something. And then when we got to the house, she was like, is that really how you were going to do things now? Because if that's how you're going to do things and just say that you're going to pick him and go to your dad's, then live there. And I was like, no. And I feel like with my dad, he just, like, he obviously wants to make up for everything else. So me going to, like, he's going to let me do whatever because he wants to make up for what he lost. Yeah. So I feel like with my mom, she has nothing to lose. So she's kind of more, like, disciplined on me. And even though I hate it, I say I hate it, like, at the end of the day, I know it's good. Yeah. Like, that she does do all these, like, things for me, being strict on me, this and that. Like, I always tell her when there's times, like, my friends invite me to go out or anything, and then something happens, I'm like, damn, I'm glad I didn't go. I'm like, Mom, thank you for saying that I couldn't go. Yeah.
You're like, you saved me from another cancellation. Do you feel like your perspective on love changed because of everything you saw with your parents? Almost like you're like, oh my God, there is no way I can find true love because what you did think was true love only lasted for 20 years?
Definitely, yes. It did change my perspective a lot because, I don't know, after 20 years of them being together and knowing that it just went like that, like, okay, bye, we're going to live on or, like, do our own thing now. It's just, like, that's so scary to me to feel like that it could happen to me. So in my heart, I am a lover girl, and I do still have a little bit of hope that there is, like, one person out there for me that, like, I know I'm young, and I probably, people are going to be like, oh, you don't even know what love is, this and that, but I know definitely it probably will be there out for me one day. But it does scare me, and I feel like I would have major trust issues. And I would, being in that relationship, I would probably self-reflect and use my past trauma and probably be a little toxic in it because of that reason. But I would say definitely did change. Like, I feel like, not that it doesn't exist, I just feel like everyone is unloyal to each other after. I'm just like, there's not one person in the world that is loyal. Actually, maybe no, because I feel like at the end of the day, I know I am. Yeah. So maybe there's someone out there like me. So that is the only hope that I have in my heart to be able to know that there is, like, true love out there, because I know in my heart that I am loyal. So I wouldn't do that to someone, because I always think this, like, I feel like it's a domino effect in this generation that people, once someone gets hurt, they hurt people. They hurt people. Like, hurt people at the end of the day. So after they get hurt, they just have trust issues and they close everyone out. So once someone else, like, tries genuinely coming into their life to, like, love them, they just, no, thank you. I don't want it. I don't want to try it.
I think it is very valid the way you think because obviamente you grew up with this idea of your parents loving each other. You know, they were showing you what their type of love was. Y al ver que pues obviamente la relación fracasó, obviously it's going to discourage you or almost sometimes make you feel like you can't ever find true love. Pero espero que si en el futuro when you start dating, I feel like if you find the right man que te valora y te quiere, tú sí vas a poder encontrar el verdadero amor. Quiero platicar un poquito about your parents dating. What is that like? Are you and your siblings for it or are you guys like, no, mi amor, se divorciaron y no los quiero ver con nadie más?
Honestly, people don't see what happens behind cameras. It already has happened. My mom and dad, matter of fact, have both moved on. And honestly, I don't, like at first, it's going to be weird seeing your parents with someone else after growing up your whole life, like seeing them together. It's going to be like, what the, like, I'm not used to seeing you with it, like with my dad or like with my mom. So it's like, what? But honestly, I know both of them, they were not happy in the marriage. So for them to genuinely be happy afterwards, that's all that matters to me. I don't really, Then again, I'm in my own world. I'm in my own little bubble. Like, if you're doing good, that's all that matters. I'm gonna let you do whatever you gotta do. If you guys have like relationship problems, this and that, like, I hope you guys solve it. But if you are happy, that's okay. My sister, she doesn't want to see my mom with anyone else. She doesn't want to. She's like in denial. She even brings it up sometimes. She's like, "Mom, imagine you and Dad get back together or something like that." And I just look at her. I'm like, girl, just. I can't necessarily say I even have hope for it because I don't see it happening at all.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't, like, after everything happening, I just can't see my mom and dad get back together. And I think if they were to, I'd be really mad at them. I'd be like, so first of all, we lost the house for this, all because of, like, for what? All these arguments, all of this and that. I'd be like, I would be mad if they got back together. I'd be like...
You're like, just move on, please, with your lives.
I would have been like, this was such a waste of time. Like, no matter how much I would love for them to... Like my childhood self for them to be back together, I think it's better off that they're not.
También tenemos que ser realistic because yo me acuerdo cuando yo estaba chiquito and my parents would like argue or the talks and combos of like divorce would ever get brought up. Yo me acuerdo que yo me enojaba just with the thought of thinking of my parents like redoing their life with like somebody else that isn't, you know, my parent. Pero yo pienso que también como alguien maduro y como un adulto tenemos que ponernos a pensar que uno como hijo, you know, we're gonna create our life. We're gonna like, you know, get a partner, have kids, have a home, and that's gonna be like our new family. And it sucks to say, even though we're not gonna abandon our parents, they're not gonna be in our everyday life unless they're living with you. You know what I mean? But that's what I mean. Like, I think it's nice that you're not selfish and you're like, you know what? Yo quiero que mis papás encuentren a su persona para que tengan a alguien para envejecer with.
That is actually one thing I was bringing up to my mom because she was like having her own little like, she was having like an argument with one of her like, her boyfriend, and I was like, Mom, at the end of the day, like, who do you go to the grave with? Yeah. And then I was like, yourself. We're all like, you're gonna be by yourself at the end of the day, so I want you to know that you're gonna be okay by yourself, you know? And I was like, you just have to take that into consideration every day because then again, she's still like, was obviously you don't just get over a 20-year marriage just like that. So her still feeling the way she did and like being depressed and all this and that, I was like, you have the negative mindset right now, but you're gonna be okay. Just live like you're like gonna die tomorrow. Like I always try to say that so she could just feel better, you know? And at the end of the day, it's just like, even if things don't work out with who you're with right now, you're gonna be okay,
like, live your life.
Yeah, just live your life. Because she's very like, when she's in a relationship, she was like this with my dad too. When she's in a relationship, all she does, stay in her room and stay to herself. Like, obviously, she's coming, like, downstairs, talking to me and my sister, doing this and that in the house. But then, at the, like, she goes to her room. Like, that's it. And it's just, like, you gotta live your life. Like, and, like, fuck all what everyone has to say about you being 39, going out. But at the end of the day, like, that's the age you should be going out. Yeah. Like, I shouldn't be going out to this and that at 16.
But you should.
But you should, because you're old enough. Yeah. Like, people say this, oh, why is Tessa wearing this? She's too young to be wearing it. And then when my mom wears something like that, they're like, oh, why is she trying to act younger? This and that. I'm like, my mom is the appropriate age to wear that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, maybe people don't think that about me, but it's what I feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
I feel pretty in, I feel confident in, because I used to not be a confident girl. So it's just like people just pick and choose, and it's hard. One thing I did want to touch on is like, even though me and my siblings went through like my parents' divorce and like everything, it did hit my mom more, because not did she just lose like her person of 20 years, like my dad was financially supporting us and the family as well. Like my sister was too, like obviously because of social media and money, but he actually had like a consistent job. Like
Yeah.
people don't understand social media money is like there and it's not reliable.
Yeah.
But losing that, it kind of was scary for all of us, and we were just like, what are we gonna do now? Like it literally was a whole drastic change in our life to, like, settle or be good.
Y obviamente que les va a doler a ti, a tus hermanos, but I feel like it's nice that, you're being there for your mom, because al fin del día, the people that are going through a heartbreak are, your mom and dad. Ahorita tu mamá pienso, se siente defraudada because she did have to leave a 20-year relationship, and ella está en un momento donde she's trying to put back together the pieces of this broken life that she was left with.
Like me, I just got over like a 6-month situationship, and I'm like, oh my god, I've been going through it, I've been crashing out, like, and just so I couldn't imagine like going through what my mom went through.
Yeah.
Like all those years. Like I already know, she told me she was like mentally checked out of like the marriage 5 years prior, so she was like not, it wasn't like as bad when the divorce actually, like the written paper and everything actually happened. But I couldn't imagine like her pain that she was going through, spending that much time and memories, having kids with that person, So it was just like, you're strong. Like she's the strongest woman I ever know.
I think it is a very tough situation to be in, because tu mamá, not only is she trying to put back the pieces to her broken heart, pero también she's trying to get it together for her kids. You know what I mean? Quiero platicar un poquito about the co-parenting. How is that like? Do you guys divide days between your dad and your mom? Or what's the co-parenting
Not
like?
necessarily, because on court paper, it is like 95% me, like my mom with me, and then 5% with my dad, because during the time I did not talk to him at all. But now it's just like whenever my dad texts me like, hey, you want to go out to eat? You want to do this and this and that? It's just like, oh yeah, I'll go. Like if I have the time, I'll go, But I don't really like push it as much, because in the beginning is when it was pushed, and then it kind of like made us like, like it kind of pushed us away from him instead of helping. But now him not pushing it and like consistently like being overwhelming with it, like trying to basically kiss ass to us because of the situation. I think it's better that we're doing that instead of like, oh, you have to hang out with him, or you have to do this
it's
and that.
Slowly now.
Yeah, it's like it's just happening in the all matter of time, So I think that's what matters the most, and I'm glad that it's not like we're little kids and we have to do like, oh, him have me on the weekends, or my mom having dinner this time, So I think it's just cool like that.
What piece of advice can you give to anyone watching right now that is maybe going through their parents' divorce?
I think I would just say it will be okay. No matter how hard the situation is, it's always gonna be okay, no matter what. Like time heals everything. And I think obviously you just need to let yourself feel that everything is happening, because I feel like a lot of people are in denial with the situation and just like, oh, I don't want this to happen, like this and this and that. But I think it's gonna be okay no matter what at the end of the day. Like you guys are all gonna move on, you're gonna get older, you're gonna live your own life. Your parents are as well. Like things happen for a reason, and if they weren't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be. And I think that's all I would say to, like, if I were to get advice to myself, that's all I would want to hear from anyone, if anything.
Yes, muy cierto. I feel like time really does heal. And as you get older, you start realizing que si pues la relación no trabajó, it's for the best que ya no están juntos. Hey amigas, if you know me, you know I adore my handbags and I always strive to keep them looking pristine. Y pues déjales digo, I've just discovered Curate, the ultimate solution for protecting and preserving my purse collection, ensuring they stay beautiful and last forever. Think about it. You clean and maintain your shoes, your car, even your body, So why not give your luxury handbags the same care? These bags are an investment, and with Cure, you can make sure they last a lifetime. Plus, if you ever decide to resell, Cure helps you keep your bags in perfect condition so you can get top dollar. In today's world where overconsumption is a big issue, it's crucial to make things last as long as possible. By taking care of our handbags with Cure, we can do just that. Ustedes saben, amigas, that I have a purse collection of my own, and I love using Cure porque me las deja limpiecitas y cada vez que salgo lucen como nuevas. If you want to go ahead and try Cure, there's a limited supply available, so head to mycure.com to get your leather care kit today. That is mycure.com. The best way to make your handbags last forever. Once again, that is mycure.com. Pero quiero platicar about you in school. ¿Cómo era Tessa in school? Were you shy? Were you popular? Peleonera? How were you in school, amiga?
In school, oh my god, I actually used to love school, like going to like in-person school, because I would love hanging out with my friends. I love school, hated the school part. And I feel like that's everyone. Love school, hated the school part. Love lunchtime. I liked hanging out with my friends, getting lunch, going to the vending machine, used to asking my parents for money for the vending machine. I think I was since I was extroverted, I would see someone random and like be friends with them or to talk to them. Like I would push it too. I would say I was kind of the popular girl in a way. I wouldn't say popular. I was just very like.
People knew who you were.
Yeah, they knew who I was. Like I wasn't like quiet, if anything. I loved spending time with my teachers. Like oh my god, I loved having a bond with my teachers 100%. Like I still have I literally still sometimes check up and email my older teachers, my other teachers, and would be like, "Hey, how are you doing? Like, I'm doing this and this and this. This is an update on my life. Like, social media has been doing well for me. Online school has been doing well for me. This and this and that." Like, it would literally not even on nothing weird or anything like that. I feel like some teachers really, not even some teachers have an impact on your life forever. So if you had a good bond with that teacher, you're always going to remember them. Everyone has that one teacher you're going to remember and that they mean a lot to you too.
Do you feel like as soon as you started getting a following, do you feel like girls try to start problems with you, or just in general people started treating you differently because of the following you had online?
I wouldn't say, I don't want to say like, oh, everyone changed, started acting different towards me, like, or anything like that. I think there'd be people just throwing on the world, okay, Miss Famous, or like stuff like that. And I'd be like, you're like, no, it's not even like that or anything. So I feel like it was just like small things like that, but nothing like, oh, I think I'm this, like I think I'm the shit type, like, it wasn't like that, if anything. No one treated me weirdly in the high school that I went to before I moved. Like to my new house as of right now, because I grew up with those people. Like all those people that went to that high school went to the same elementary as me. And my sister and brother also went to that same high school too. So they already like, it was a norm. It was like, oh, it wasn't nothing new to like
oh,
see.
she's famous girl, we've been knowing.
No.
Like something like it wasn't like a big new deal.
Yeah, it wasn't like a big deal to them because they like it was kind of like a norm to like see like my sister and brother. So me, I'm not any different. But I think going to like the new high school that I went to as soon as I moved, people weren't like used to that. I don't know, to be honest, because it was me and my brother because my sister already graduated. And there was one time when we went to this new school, and the first day that me and my brother went, because it was like the end of the school year. And as soon as we got there was like people just like staring, and we were like, huh? Like, who? I don't think it's that big of a deal. We're just TikTokers, if anything. And then there was like people like in a class like recording us from the outside, and we were like, okay, that's doing too much. We ain't celebrities now. I'm just like, I'm trying to get my education. But I think with me, that had nothing to do with me going online, if anything. With me going online, that was just for myself, because I did good in school. Like, I didn't do bad in public school, but I feel like I'm just like better online because I don't, like I said before, I loved school, but I hated the school part. So being able to just like be stuck in the school part kind of forces me to actually do it without being distracted. My old high school, I would just like sit me next to anyone, I would chat up with them. Like, I don't care. I'm gonna make friends no matter what, so I'm not bored in class, because I was just like that. Unless it was like a table full of like quiet kids, then there was like one person at the table, I'll talk to them, because I don't want to disturb the other people that don't want to be talked to, because I'm I'm not gonna be like that one girl, why are you so quiet, you know? I was just gonna do like, whoever wants to talk to me, I'll talk to you too. Like, I could easily just like read the energy in the room.
What was online school like? How many days a week ibas? And did you ever feel like you were kind of falling behind because no ibas en persona a la escuela?
The only time I was falling behind was obviously like when I was going through everything, because as soon as I switched to online school is when my parents divorced, and then like all my drama stuff on TikTok was going on, so I didn't have like school wasn't my priority at this time, and my mom didn't like have the energy to be able to tell me to get on my shit about school, because she was obviously dealing with her own things, like with my dad, so it was kind of harder. But definitely now is like no excuses. My mom's like, this year you have no excuses. You're gonna be on it. Like this year, I'm not gonna hear anything. No absences. Like, because basically what I have to do, I have to join like a Google Meet. It's like 8:30 and it ends at 2:30. Yeah. And I have
Damn, it's
6
so
periods.
early.
No, yeah. I wake up like it's literally like a school day, basically.
Yeah.
But I have to wake up at 8:30, go to sleep. Sorry, go to sleep early technically, but I sometimes slack on doing that too. But wake up for my classes. I have 6 periods, so I have to join 6 Google Meets. And then after, I have to do Edgenuity, which is like I log in and they assign like 3 assignments every single day. So it's kind of hard because like if I don't do the 3 assignments every single day, then I would fall behind, which is why I try to keep up with it the best I could, you know? So I feel like that's the only thing, nothing bad out of online school though. I would definitely recommend with people that want to do online school, because it's the best decision I've ever made. Like if you want to do stuff throughout the day, like go to the gym in the morning, but you have school, but no, I could just join class on my phone and just do my online work later in the
Do you
day.
even show your face sometimes?
No, you don't have to.
So literally you can clock in and go to sleep.
Literally, right? You know how we had our thing at 2? My class started at 2:05. I clocked in right now.
Me, I'm like, the teacher
I
don't
had my
even
phone
know.
right here
I'm
in
just like, I'm in class right now, baby.
No, they do know what I do though, and it's because sometimes like if I do fall behind and they email me that if I fall behind or not, like I'll explain. I'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I was busy doing this and this or filming this and this and that, and they're like, okay, no worries, just catch back up.
Do they know that you do social media?
Yeah, actually, one time there was one person that commented on my TikTok. They're like, because I don't go by they're probably gonna know now, but I don't go by like obviously it's my legal name, my school name. It's Natalie. So I didn't really like think anyone was gonna notice that I was in
the
class because I go by Natalie. I'm not known on social media for like Natalie. I'm known as Tessa. And there was one person that commented, "Hey, are you on like the program?" I don't want to say it because like that's scary, but on this program for online school, because I think you're in my class. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, there's no way that I just like got recognized for being in the same class as this person without even showing my face or anything. But it makes sense because they probably put 2 and 2 together that I do online school, like maybe my area code. No, I do not.
You don't even talk.
You don't have to talk either.
Oh, you're like, so you don't have to do anything. You're like, just show up.
No,
that's crazy.
You show up and have to do your work. That's all. Okay. That's why my mom gets on me so much, because I don't have to do that much. So if I don't have to do that much, like why am I falling behind?
Like it's the bare minimum.
Bare minimum, yes.
Yeah. So what is that like? Does it ever get hard to try to balance, your busy lifestyle with school?
Like a little bit. And especially since I'm a procrastinator, I'm like, I'll do this later. I am a big procrastinator, but once like I get like in my mindset, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lock in. Like if I have this, like if I get missing assignments, if I have this many assignments, I'm gonna get it done tonight. Like I'm gonna get it done, because I can't because they'll kick me out. They'll put me right back into school. Like I like the way I'm able to live, because I'm able to like go to the gym in the morning. If I want to go shopping throughout the day, I could just have my phone in my pocket and be logged into class and then do my schoolwork later. Like it's an easy, simple life. It's not anything hard either. My favorite subject has always been, even in in-person school, has been language and English arts, because it was like, I don't know, like writing stories and doing this and this and that. Like I love doing that. I don't know why. Like that would be the only class I would be like, okay, locked in on. Like no one's talking to me or anything. I used to love reading books actually, but then I stopped because then I was just like, I don't know, I kind of got bored of it a little bit, and I wouldn't have time to like just read a book. Like
it is boring though. Like I'm not gonna lie.
No, maybe I feel like the only reason why it's not as boring is because you're literally able to create your own movie in your own head while reading. So I feel like that's the only really cool thing about reading, and it helps with your grammar and stuff, and like the way you talk too as well, and your knowledge.
Platicamos un poquito de pues tu high school, pero yo quiero saber de tu quinceañera. El año pasado tuviste tu 15. Quiero que nos platiques un poquito más. What was the planning process like? What made you choose the colored dress that you chose? Cuéntanos todo.
Oh my gosh, it was actually very last minute. I do all my things last minute. Like my current birthday, oh my gosh, it was very last minute. I planned it in a week. I know, it was such a mess. But my quinceañera, I had planned like for a month because I've always wanted one, but I didn't think I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
But with my parents' divorce, they were kind of just like, I don't know what made them think like, yes, let's go spend this much money on a dress, even though we're going through all this stuff.
So it was happening during that time?
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know why we're doing this, but let's just do it, whatever. So while looking for dresses, I actually was between the emerald because an emerald is like, I don't know why I chose emerald. I forgot because my birthstone is ruby. So I don't know why I chose emerald, but I think I just like the color on me.
Yeah.
But I was between emerald or like this black dress. And to this day, I regret not getting the black dress because it was so pretty. But the emerald dress was also pretty as well. But everything was planned in like a month. So it didn't go the way I wanted it to do. We didn't do any dances, no photography, no nothing. I have nothing, like no pictures in the dress besides that one picture I have posted or like videos and TikToks and stuff. So it kind of sucks. It wasn't exactly what like the dream quinceañera I've always wanted, you know? So I just felt like it was the worst time to like
plan it. Yeah.
And
I
I
feel like
probably
you were
should
also
have
going through so much shit.
Yeah, so I feel like I shouldn't have just done anything and just did like a small little like get together with my friends and stuff instead of doing that. But I mean, I don't regret it. I had a fun time. It was like I got to spend time with like my friends and my family, and like I know for sure I'm glad that like it did have to bring my parents together that night. It was kind of awkward, to be honest, because they were still like beefing with each other. They had a little tension towards each other. They were like, but they put up with it for the night, so I'm grateful they did that for me. But besides that, it was okay. What I would change is definitely probably I would get a whole venue. I would get a venue. I would change my dress. I'm like, oh, everything.
The whole thing?
I wish I could have waited at least a little bit because I know people do wait after they're 15. And that I should have done that. But honestly, I don't regret it. It was still cute.
Yeah.
It was like a little something for my 15. It was better than nothing.
Quiero platicar de cómo empezaste tú en las redes. Obviamente ahorita te miramos, posteas un video y te haces viral, but it wasn't always like that. Platícanos, what made you start wanting to do social media, and what was like your first moment where you're like, you know what, a la mejor sí la hago?
I didn't really like hop on social media like that. Obviously the one, whoever started it, everything is my sister. She's the one that started everything. And I'm not ashamed to say that. People are all like, aren't you sad? Like, your sister's the one that started you off, this and this and that. And I'm like, why would I be sad that my sister started me off? Like,
I'm grateful for that. Yeah,
I'm grateful. Like, if it weren't for her, then I wouldn't even be here, like, sitting in this chair right now. If anything, like, I'm glad I got to, like, have the opportunity because not many do, you know?
Yeah.
So, if anything, obviously, she's the one that started it off. And as I told you, like, I didn't want to be on camera at all. I was very insecure. I didn't want to show my face or anything. I kind of just warmed up to it on my own because I think my middle school, because obviously COVID is when I was like the most insecure, and that's when she was like pushing it the most. But after quarantine, going to like middle school, like knowing that people are gonna see my face no matter what in person, I'm just like, might as well show people online too, because like it's who I am, you know?
Like, my sister's gonna do it regardless.
Yeah, my sister's gonna do it regardless. I might as well just do it on my own. So I started posting myself. And then I think after that, I think it just started consistently just like me posting, and then me getting into this one online relationship. And then after doing my ATM, like, and then after doing my own thing, I feel like everything was just all aligned and was a plan for me to be who I am today and how I am going to be in the future, to help me out. So I'm glad that I did decide to choose to continue and pursue social media just like how my sister did, and I'm glad I was able to have that opportunity that she gave me. Honestly, I never really had an aha moment until looking back and being like, damn, I had that. Because I was looking at my old videos even before like I got into my trio and got into that relationship online, and I was like, damn, like I was pulling numbers without even knowing I was pulling numbers. And I was just like, I didn't know. Like, that's so crazy that I was never, because I would just post a video, see the comments sometimes, and just like, whatever, I'm going to scroll on my For You page. Like, I never thought about it like that because I was never used to it. So I think looking at it now, I'm just like, wow, I'm really glad I did what I did, you know? But I think during the summer, like July 2023, is when I noticed that I was making money from it. And obviously, a young kid getting that much money in their hands, I was splurging. And I was like, looking back at it now, I'm like, damn, I wish I never did that because
Yeah.
I was making a good amount of money. So for me, like for someone that has never been like had that money
Yeah.
before, getting it would and being like, oh, I could buy this, I could buy that. Like I
You're
have
like,
the money
on
now.
me? Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah. Literally, I think that's something that people did take advantage of me for is me being as generous as I was.
Yeah.
Like being like, oh, I got you, I'll pay for it. Or I'll do this. It's okay. I'm good. Like I don't have no bills to pay like how you guys do or this and that. Like, you know, because I was friends with like older people.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got you guys, don't worry. Like bills as in like car payments or anything like that. So I was like,
What's the most you've ever spent in a week going out with your friends?
oh my God, I try not to keep track of that, to be honest. I try not to. But definitely, I don't know, like during that time that I told you, honestly, I would spend like literally, I remember there's one moment I was at the Prada store and I bought like the white Prada glasses that I have now. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this. I bought it. And then after I was like, let me just post this promo real quick. And then I posted it because I had the mentality of money always comes back.
Yeah.
I just posted it's gonna come back. And I wish I never had that because that's the worst mentality you could ever have. Like, for one thing, if you guys start getting money, never think that way ever. Because money does eventually come back into your life, but it's better to just save the money off to the side instead of splurging because that's the worst thing you could ever do. Like you don't need designer, you don't need this, you don't need like all this stuff to make yourself look good, you know? I remember going into like the I think it was the LV store recently and I remember there was this sweater that literally looked like something that you could buy at like Ross or the mall, Forever 21,
Like it's not
Shein.
always the
And
cutest.
I'm like, it's just for the name or the label for the shirt. And that I was like, that's so crazy for everything to be like that now. I'm just like, it's not worth it at all. It's not worth that $2,000. Like, I still have like all my stuff, and I'm like, damn, should I have bought it? No, I'm glad I have it though.
It is
But
very much like
I'm
that though.
I'm like over here giving all this advice and I'm still that way. I think I was just thinking of like, imagine if I had that right now, you know? That's the only reason why I'm like saying, oh, I wish I didn't do this and that because I know I'm stable enough to know that I would if I were to get it. Like, it's okay.
No, pero te entiendo, amiga, because when I first started doing social media, amigas, obviamente ustedes saben that I grew up teniendo casi nada. So when I started making my money, when those YouTube checks started coming in the 21st of every month, yo me gustaba comprarme bolsas, amigas, de $3,000, $4,000. Díganme si las uso, no, todavía están ahí con etiqueta y todo. But it was just more of like, oh, I want to prove to myself that like all my life no me podía dar estos gustos y ahora que puedo, sí me los puedo dar. But I feel like as I started getting older, como que ya me valió verga. I feel like the last time I got like a designer item was all last week. No, but en verdad, amigas, it wasn't like recently. I think it's been a while since I've bought in like a designer bag for myself. Porque digo, ay, ni la uso ni la necesito, ¿para qué la voy a comprar?
Literally, I've hung out with like people that actually have like money, and those are like not even this. I'm not even trying to be like that. Those are the most stingiest people with their money ever because they are not ones to be like, oh, I'll pay for it or I'll do this. They're the most stingiest people with their money, and it's something that is just like, okay, I need to start. I see why you got money. Like I'm gonna be just like you.
You know, you and your family are known to always get hate. Cuéntanos un poquito de eso. How do you feel when you get comments, for example, you know, mommy shaming your mom and how she parents? Y también, ¿cómo te sientes tú cuando te tiran comentarios diciéndote that you dress too old for your age?
Honestly, I feel like I don't know. It used to get to me like a very long time ago. I remember when I wasn't on social media, it used to get to me. And I remember seeing my sister take comments because I remember this one time, like, again, I was still developing and my sister did a video with me. And she obviously, my sister has big boobs. And I'm over here, like, I had a smaller chest than I do now. And we did a video together on her page before I was on social media. And I remember seeing all the hate comments and being like, oh, get her out of the video, or oh, she looks ugly, like this and this and that. I'm like, I think that's the only time the hate has affected me like the way I felt that day. But now I just, again, like, I'm my only critic.
Yeah.
No one could get on me the way I get on myself every day. Like, obviously, hate comments, they do. sometimes they stab me in the heart a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think it's myself that gets on me more than anything. But the hate comments like kind of help me overthink more.
Yeah.
But I do know some hate comments actually genuinely want to help me. Like, I remember when I got my lips done the first time, it was so bad. Like, they look good at first until they literally look like bad. And I remember people making fun of me and I'm like, oh, they're just hating. The only thing with that is like sometimes I think they're just hating to hate, but those people were genuinely wanting to help me, like tell me to dissolve my lips. And I'm like, okay. And once I did do it, I was like, damn, that's what I used to look like.
Was that process like super painful? Because I've heard that getting your lips dissolved is more painful than getting them done.
Honestly, I don't know. It did hurt though. It did hurt a lot. And I remember being swollen. I looked so
Like, it was
weird.
not cute.
Yeah, it was not it at all. I did not like it. But overall though, I feel like the hate comments, I don't know, it kind of just pushes me more to be more critical on myself, if anything, because at the end of the day, I know I'm not perfect. And I feel like being on social media, I have to fit up to a standard. So with people saying like, oh, she's so young, she's doing this and this, the only thing I've done is like nose filler on my nose and lips. And my nose is the only because I've been insecure about my nose before I even got on social media. Like, I've always hated it. My parents, like my dad could like, he wasn't even that close to me and he knew that I hated my nose. I think the only thing is I just tried fitting up to the standards. And no matter what people say, like, oh, just don't listen to the haters, like, just be confident in yourself. It's hard when you're getting reminded every single day and you're on that platform. Like, I can't just put my phone down and just not think about what people have said to me because, like, this is my lifestyle at the end of the day. Like, this is what I do. Like, I know people will say, like, oh, if you can't handle it, then just get off. Like, I can handle it. But at the end of the day, I want to know, like, be confident in myself while being on the screen, you know? I know I just get a lot of criticism of like me being young and doing these things at my age. Like me putting up to a standard on social media, it feels like I have to keep I have to keep up with it. And people don't understand that. Like, I will always hold this. People will never understand how you feel unless they're in your position. So no one will understand like why I do what I do or how I live my life until they're in my position. At the end of the day, like people could criticize me and say this and this and that, but no one will ever know like why I am like this until you're in my position and see why I do the things I do. Because I'm not like a horrible person to be dressing the way I do. I feel like there's just bigger problems in life for people to worry about instead of just me doing
Dressing how you want to
how I
dress.
want to dress and like doing what I want to do, like to like my nose or my lips to just make me feel more confident about myself. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal at all. I don't know why people get mad about it either because I mean anyone could get it if they want. Like it's the age of consent. Like I feel like if a 16-year-old girl wanted to do it, not pushing it on anyone because I don't think anyone should do it because it is a young age to do it at, but I just feel like I should not I feel like anyone else in the industry will understand what I'm trying to say, but me trying to put up with the standard. And there is times like where my mom tells me like, "Oh, you don't need to do this to like you're already beautiful, you're already this and that. Like you don't need to wear that. Like that's too much." Like but again, I am a stuck-up teenager where I'm just like makes me feel good. I'm aware. I don't care what you have to say, this and this and that. Like and yes, like that is bratty. She still gets mad at me for it and she's just like no Tessa this and that. I'm like I hate the feeling of feeling controlled, so I'm just like I'm gonna do it. And once people like even parents, like I realized this with like other topics too, like they get tired of it where they're just like whatever because they're humans too at the end of the day. They're like okay whatever, I'm not gonna like try to change like what you're trying to do because I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do at the end of the day.
Nos platicas un poquito about standards and, you know, obviously tú creciste online. You've been in your sister's videos desde muy chiquita. Do you feel like because of that, you almost felt like you had to grow up faster to fit into like the social media standards?
I feel like the one that video that I was telling you about me developing like obviously because I was little compared to my sister, I feel like that made me like I don't know, like want to fit in or be older, just do this and this and that. Not be older necessarily, but like just look good for people to say she's so pretty. She's like she actually looks good or like you know stuff like that. So it's not necessarily me trying to act older. It's just like I need that reassurance. I need that reassurance within myself too, because if I don't look in the mirror and think I'm pretty, I'm not gonna have a good day. Like if your makeup doesn't look good, you're not gonna have a good day. Like if your hair doesn't look good, you're not gonna have a day. Like everything put together in one is just like if I'm not the way I wanna look, I'm not gonna live a good life,
Yeah.
you know? Like, I'm not gonna be confident within myself, which if I'm not confident within myself, then I'm not gonna be happy.
Nos platicas un poquito de que tu mamá does tell you that you don't need all of this, the makeup, the hair, the outfit to look beautiful. Y como la gente no sabe eso, le tiran mucho a tu mamá. Do you guys ever have combos like in person about stuff like that?
I think sometimes I feel bad because majority of the times it's my decision. Like, it's like obviously you need a parent to sign off, but I'm a bugaboo. Like, I'm like, Mom, please, just this, just like this is it. Like, this is all I want. Like, please, 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 please. And I feel like when you have someone just begging like multiple times, then that's when you kind of give in, and that's how she is with me. Because I like cry sometimes and be like, please, like I feel ugly, like I just don't this and this and that. Like, obviously she's always like, you shouldn't. But my mom wants me to be confident within myself. Like, I genuinely like don't like if I tell her I don't feel pretty, then she's gonna like be like, okay, like because it's not like I'm getting any surgery
Yeah.
done, but it's enhancing
Yeah.
if anything. And one thing about filler, it's able to be dissolved. So it's not like a big change
Yeah.
in me. Majority like is my choice, and it is legal to do
Yeah.
it. Like anyone could do it if they wanted to, like at my age. But it's just like people don't understand that, and it makes it come off like they make it come off bad on my mom, but it's my decision. It's definitely something people like are okay with to criticize on because they're just like I don't know. It's kind of hard to like even say because people are no matter what, they're going to say something
Yeah.
about someone, and no matter what I do or say or whatever my mom is okay with or not okay with, like people are always going to just be like
Talking shit.
talk shit on it, and it's just like, okay, we can't do anything at the end of the day. So whatever you guys are happy or not happy with, then it's not like I'm not gonna care anymore because I'm gonna do what makes me happy. And as long as my mom is okay with it, then that's all what
Yeah.
matters. I don't think anyone else should be concerned with it, but me and my family. And my dad is okay with it too. My dad, he's perfectly fine with it actually. He does the same thing that my mom does. He tells me, "You don't even need it." And I'm because I was telling him I wanted a nose job because I'm tired of like once you get filler over and over on the nose, it makes your nose look bigger than what it is. So I was telling him I just want to get a nose job. Like I'm tired of like just feeling like having filler in my nose because I've been insecure about it since I was like 10. And he was like, "Man, you don't even need it. This and that." And then he was like, "Oh, but you could go to like TJ." And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Like, but we
I'm
have
like, okay.
options.
I'm like, if you were
Literally.
to do it, there's like TJ Turkey. I'm like, okay. And I also think it's because they grew up with me, so they know how I am, and they know I was very
Yeah.
unhappy with that. And for him to know that it's like he was okay with it is only because he knows I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that's how parents are at the end of the day because they just want you to be happy within yourself and like obviously you as a person. So I don't think it's anything like crazy like how the internet makes it seem, to be honest.
Platicamos un poquito about social media y quiero platicar de un tema, que te pasó el año pasado. August of 2023 was a super hard year, not just with everything that you were going through with your family problems, but also online. I want to talk about the passport incident. Can you walk us through with what happened in your perspective?
I think immediately when everything happened, I was kind of just like freaking out in a way. And I had a whole bunch of emotions like going through my head. I didn't know how to handle it. Like, it was just a lot for me to control. So, definitely, I just like did some things that I regret, honestly. Like, if this were to come, like, to happen now, like, if that situation were to happen now, I would definitely handle it way different than I did during that time because it was definitely an immature thing to do. And I regret it so much. Like, till this day, I am so sorry for the whole thing. Like, I feel like the way things were handled shouldn't have been handled that way. And I wish I could turn back time and change how things went down, but obviously I can't. And the only thing I can do is just make up for it and learn from it and just become a better person at the end of the day because that's the only thing I can do. I have no control over time. So I think with that incident, it's just something that should have just never happened.
Yeah.
And I, till this day, still regret having anything to like do with it. My whole For You page was just filled with like bashing me, and I just didn't like, I ended up filtering my For You page, but it was literally a trend to just hate on me. Like, if you want your video to do good, like, or to go viral or blow up, you just talk about it and then it just put caption on it, word it, anything, like the video would end up going viral because that's what everyone was talking about. Because to this day, there's people like I remember there was content creators before I met, and now I met them that used to like hate on me for the drama, and that are perfectly cool with me now. And I'm just like, wow, I remember during that time you guys were hating on me. But at the end of the day, I when I see them and I meet them and I think about that, I'm like, I understand. Like, I can't even be mad at them because it was a trend. Like,
Yeah.
it was not necessarily like a trend to hate on me because at the end of the day, what I did was wrong. And I think I didn't deserve as much backlash as I did, but it was a bad thing to do. The reason why I even took it is because me and my friend were curious about like if she was genuinely like the age that she was telling us, because we didn't know if she was the age that she was telling us or the other age, which was a completely stupid and impulsive decision for me to even take a picture of. And I take accountability of that because I should have never done that, even if I was curious or whatnot. Like, that's someone's personal information. I should have never even invaded it in the first place. And I feel like now, if I was ever like put in that position ever again, like that's something I would handle way better than I did that day.
Yeah.
And that's something I have learned from, and I will like that I've matured from. Like, at the end of the day, I was a little girl when that happened. It was definitely a petty little kid thing. Like, at the end of the day, I still am a little girl, but I was not as matured as I am now.
Yeah.
Definitely like not as matured as I am now because I'm glad everything happens for a reason, because it did help me become the person I am today, to know to never like react based off of my emotions and just do an impulsive decision and think before I do something always.
Nos cuentas brevemente that at the time, when you did take the passport picture, que pues no lo habías tomado con la intención de to be like, oh, you know what, like I'm gonna kind of blackmail you with it. Cuéntanos un poquito like where your mind space was during that time.
I didn't even see any of the drama ever happening to me or anything. Like, I didn't see that all. Like, I think that was just like a done and did. Like, that's it. Like, nothing. I didn't expect that to expand or be anything further than what it was, you know? So definitely my intent was not to be like, oh, I'm gonna use this against you, or I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna leak it, I'm gonna take it, you know? It was literally just the picture. That's that. I wanted to genuinely know like if she was actually the age she was telling me, because she was telling other people that she was 18, which nothing wrong. I understand why she did what she did. Whatever. Like, that's out of the way, but I do 100% know that it was an impulsive decision to do and should have never even happened to begin with. But at the it's just, I don't know.
And I feel like it's so important. And I love the fact that, you're sitting down here with us and really taking accountability, because yo conozco a muchos adultos, amigas, que la cagan and they still don't take accountability. So it really does show a lot of how much you've matured and how much you've learned from the situation. Obviamente nos cuentas un poquito that when you first uploaded, the passport y todo eso, you didn't really think it was gonna like blow up and be as big as it was. Obviamente when you start seeing those TikToks, when you start seeing all those comments, all those posts, what was your headspace then?
I think at that moment, I was just like, I don't know. I was kind of just like, oh my God, I don't know how to feel right now. Like, this is so crazy. Because then again, I had real life things to worry about. Because after I put the phone down or just get off my phone, I have another situation to worry about. So I feel like it did obviously like affect me, because I was getting comments every day, like just being like, oh, Bob, this, and that, like passport stealer. And it's just like, I wish you guys knew like that's not who I am. That's not like what my intention was to be, you know? So I feel like you guys are like thinking of me wrong. Like, that's the only thing that kind of sucked about it, is because people didn't really get to know me, you know? And it was just based off of that piece of information. So especially with people not knowing who I was and getting that idea of me is the thing that sucked even more, that I hated. Because I hate when, like, say if someone makes a rumor at you, the rumor of you at school, and it's not even true. Well, obviously my stuff is true, but like, it just sucks that they didn't actually get to know you.
Yes.
Like, that's the only thing that sucked about it. I was just like, damn, all these people making videos and just like making fun of me. It's just like,
And I think a big part of that is because, a lot of people for the first time were seeing you because of the drama.
yeah, and I'm not like that at all. Like, that's why it sucked, because I was just like, please, like, get the chance. Like, me, there's literally people in person that have met me and came up to me in person that was all like, oh my God, you're actually like, you're genuinely so nice. I didn't expect that from you. And I'd be like, please, like, again, take the time to actually get to know me, and I'll like be more than like thankful for you guys to be like to even take that opportunity to get to know me, because I promise I'm like, it's not like that at all. Like, people think I'm a boyfriend stealer, passport stealer, like all of that. Like, it's not, that's not how I am at all. Like, I promise.
Did the scandal affect, your relationship with your friends, family, or even other influencers in your circle? Did you notice anyone that you felt like you guys had a good friendship kind of distance themselves because they didn't want to get the heat that was coming with the scandal?
Definitely it was an eye opener. And I'm glad it happened again, because I'm glad everything does happen for a reason, because it did show like a lot of people are there only for the numbers. And it showed like who was really there for me and who believed me, who actually got to know me, because there was other content creators that have left my life, or like have left in general and didn't want to film with me, do this and this and that, or like just all that in
Yeah.
general because of that. And it was just like, oh, okay. I see that you didn't really like, you didn't
Fuck with me.
you didn't fuck with me because of who I was as a person. You fucked with me because of social media. And I know that because I know I'm a good person. And for you to not be cool with me and act like you weren't friends with me on social media is because you were there for social media, and because they know how I am as a person. So if they left my life because of that, then I knew their intentions with me in general.
Hablamos un poquito de todo lo que ha pasado, pero yo quiero saber cómo es tu relación with the people involved. Do you feel like you guys were able to like have off-camera conversations and really like get past it? Or is there still tension, with the people involved? Cuéntanos un poquito de eso.
Definitely, like your podcast is exclusive for this, because people don't even know, like the internet hasn't even forgave me, but she has. Like, literally, she was over not even like a couple months ago, like slept over and everything, and people are like so clueless to it, because like we're cool, we're good, and people are still hating on me for that situation and like anything like that. And it's just like, we're good over here, like, I forgot how it went. I think it first started off because we were talking about something else. Like, I think our names both got brought up in a different situation, and I wanted to clarify. I called her, I was like, look, I'm just letting you know now, like, we already know how the other last situation went, and I don't want it to be like that again, because I know you know my true intentions. And then we ended up talking about everything in the past. We both like apologized to each other for like other significant things that has happened in the drama, and we just came like, it was genuinely little girl drama.
Yeah.
And it was little girl drama that shouldn't have even been brought onto the internet, and it did, unfortunately. But I think I knew already that we were gonna be good, because we were close at the end of the day. Me and her were like very, very, very close. Even though it did feel, or it was put on social media, like as us being friends, it didn't just feel like a social media friendship. Like, it felt like a genuine, real friendship. So I feel like people don't understand, like, like, just because all this drama happened, we did have like a real connect, know? So I knew we were eventually gonna like rekindle,
Yeah.
But I think I made my mistakes. I take accountability for it. She has like accepted my apology. We're good friends. Like, it's not anything too bad. That's why I feel like no one no one understands that until
You're in the situation.
you're in the situation.
Yes. Do you feel like the public judgment made it hard for you guys to have that genuine conversation? Because obviamente cuando miras que todo el internet está contigo o contra tigo, you kind of almost get influenced and you're like, you know what, fuck you, I'm not even trying to talk to you because me and the internet hates you too.
I think definitely now we know, like, now we know how the social media is and how it works. Like if anyone were to say anything like, oh, just said this, like this and that, like, we know it's not true. But then again, before, when the drama was happening, I think definitely like the internet had us against each other. So it was definitely harder.
Yeah.
But now we know, and we're both like, we both have some knowledge on how social media works with people and how they do things. Because there be like CHISME page or clipping accounts that literally be putting like they make you look bad on purpose. Literally, intentionally. And it's probably gonna happen with this podcast.
Literally.
It's probably gonna happen. But it's just, they make things look bad on purpose to make that person look bad.
Yeah.
So there
Or
would
to
be,
get more views.
yeah, or to get
Yeah.
more views, to make, and there would be people doing that with me, saying that I was saying this and this, even after the drama was done. And I'd be like, I couldn't even reach out during the time. I was like, I'm not even, like, what? I wouldn't even say that. Like, why would I say that? It's done and over with. Like, I was just like,
How long after the situation did you guys have like a genuine conversation where you guys were able to like really sit down or even get on a call and talk about everything that happened and where you guys decided to like move forward?
I think it was this year, March 2024. Like, came over and we talked about everything. And, like, yeah, it was just nothing like all bad or anything like that. Or it was just cordial. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there was any hatred or anger or anything. It just felt like how we were. Like, it's kind of like when you like get back with an
Yeah.
ex. Like, it just felt like how we were
Like,
before.
let's
Like,
just pick up from
picked up
here,
where we left off,
literally.
So it wasn't anything like bad or any animosity or anything like that
Yeah.
either. Like, it felt like cool.
How was it like when you guys would see each other in person? Porque he visto muchos TikToks, when you've gone to an event that anyone else involved is gonna be at, siempre miro TikToks like, oh my God, se van a pelear, or this person and this person are in the same room together. ¿Qué va a pasar? What does it feel like when you guys are, in the same room together? Is it awkward? Or do you guys kind of just avoid each other because even though se han perdonado, así la relación como antes no es igual?
I think we're just like from a distance we're like, hey, but like because you know how cameras are and everything. But now I feel like I don't think it's anything bad. We're just
Yeah.
like, hey, bye.
Like you guys were both able to like grow from that and
Yeah,
be
it's
like,
not
you
like
know
any
what?
beef. We're like, oh, when we see each other, that's it. Like. But it's just like, what's up?
Do you ever miss ATM and the friendship you guys have? And do you feel like if this wouldn't have been a public situation, you guys would still have been good friends till this day?
Definitely, yes. Like I do reminisce the bond that we all have had, and I think if it wasn't put onto social media, it would have lasted. But unfortunately, everything happens for a reason, and I'm not. I feel like we are good where we are now. Like I do miss it, but I think we're good where we are now. Like all of us. I know Mecha is doing good in life. Like she has her own things going on. I have my own things going on. Amanda does too. Like I think it was a good little moment we had with each other, but definitely now we're all living our own lives, and I think it's gonna be like that for a little while.
Is there anything you'd like to say publicly to the people involved?
One thing I would say is definitely I would like to publicly apologize because I don't think I've like put it out there yet, and I know this will be like more out there. I would like to publicly apologize and take like accountability for what I did because I know it's wrong. And I know the people around me, we have all already apologized to each other. And I just want to move past it because at the end of the day, like I know it was just like little kid drama, and it was everything I have done was probably not the best thing I have ever done. And it was very impulsive and stupid of me, but definitely will have learned from it and won't be doing that ever again or ever put myself through that ever again because I know I'm not like that. And I know it was my decision to do so, but it wasn't okay. And I just don't want to let this like one event criticize like who I am as a person because I'm genuinely like not like that at all. And I just want you guys to take the chance to like know me as a person instead of going based off of that because I promise one little thing in my life or in your guys' life doesn't define who you are. So, yeah.
Y déjate digo algo, I am really happy that you were able to sit down here with us and publicly admit que la cagastes, because I think it is a big part of, the moving forward process. Porque you could have not taken accountability publicly, but the fact that you did, it really shows a lot about your maturity, your growth, y todo lo que has aprendido desde ese momento. Yo sé que, como humano la vas a seguir cagando, pero espero que no sea de esta manera. Igual como ustedes, amigas, la siguen cagando y van a seguir cagándola hasta que se mueran, amigas. En verdad que sí, because we're all human, pero lo que hace la diferencia es que como humano tienes tú que aceptar your wrongdoings and apologize for them. And I'm glad that you were able to do that. Ya hablando de las polémicas, amigas, obviamente siempre miramos rumors, misconceptions, and a lot of shit talking, when it comes to you. Yo quiero que nos aclares algo, amiga. What is a misconception, rumor, or just a chisme you've heard about yourself que nada que ver?
There was one where it was like, this is old, like a while ago, but there was a pregnancy rumor, and I was like, what? Like, literally, there was like, I think it was Lalo. He is always trolling on the internet, and I don't even get mad at him for it because I just clap back and I'm just like, I remember making a video. I'm like, oh, being an old man, like posting about a child, like being pregnant. Da, da, da. I was just playing along with it, to be honest, because I don't even know how that even came up. But I was just going along. I was like, okay, let you think whatever you want to think. And then people were like, you're pregnant? And I was like, no. Another thing is like BBL allegations. And I'm like, first of all, I wish, but the only thing is like I've been wearing a faja and people have even said, damn, Tessa, you like sleep, eat, and shower in that faja. I'm like, it's genuinely just the faja. Like, if you guys know Sol in beauty care, not even sponsored, by the way. Like, it snatches you up so good, and it genuinely gives that illusion of like making your body look like a whole like BBL look. But no, I do not have any body surgery. I'm never secretive about, like, if I were to say I got something done, like, I wouldn't be like, no.
Pero cuando sí te agarres algo, you guys, ustedes van a ser los primeritos en saber. Ya para terminar la conversación y el podcast del día de hoy, yo quiero terminar con la pregunta que I always love finishing with. ¿En dónde te miras tú en los próximos 5 años? Vas a tener 21 años. Where do you see yourself then, career-wise and just personally?
I would say I see myself in 5 years doing better than what I am now, obviously. Like, I want to still do social media, but I want to do more. Like, I want to put myself more out there, collab with more creators, like hang out with like more on the other side of the, like, you know how there's like two sides of TikTok?
Yes.
There's like Mexican TikTok and there's like white side TikTok. I want to I want to go like in both worlds, like, and just put myself out there more. If anything, that's how I see myself being, like, more up.
And I know que todas las metas que te tengas vas a cumplirlas. With that being said, amigas, espero muchísimo que les haya gustado el episodio del día de hoy. Si no la han seguido a Tessa, vayan y síganla ahorita. Ahí les voy a dejar her social medias linked down below as well as on the screen. Y también no se les olvide seguirme a mí so you guys won't miss any future episodes. And with that being said, thank you so much for being here. And thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.